Hi guys, I'm Shmi and today is the 5th and final day of this tour, the Speed Lives Here tour, celebrating the launch of new Esso Synergy fuels. It's been a pretty awesome tour so far, driving in my new Porsche Cayman GT4 of course. Starting out in London, we crossed over to Wales, had a track day at Anglesey Circuit, then we went up for a meeting in Liverpool, took the ferry over to the Isle of Man, and yesterday on the Isle of Man we were driving the TT circuit and had a visit also to the Isle of Man Motor Museum, where I got an opportunity to take out for a drive a steam car that's over 100 years old. So this has all been pretty good. Well, today we're back in England and we're going to be heading south back down towards London. So we're starting off here near Blackpool. We'll take our first visit over to the original TVR factory, just a quick stop before we're on the motorways heading down to the Coventry Transport Museum. From there we'll head down to the British Motor Museum, formerly the Heritage Centre. So we've got a good day in front of us, lots of places to go and see. So let's get in the car and get on the road. Our first stop of the day then. This is the factory now serving other purposes. This is where TVRs used to be built. Hey look, TVR diner entrance. They must still hold events and things here. So we'll just pop out, have a quick look, take a photo or two, and then we'll be back on the road. So I'm gonna park up right in front. All done here, it's absolutely freezing, so we're going to set off now to our next stop of the day, which is going to be the Coventry Transport Museum. Quite cool just to come and have a quick look, although not very much going on here anymore. So we've got about 2 hours I think it is actually on the road now from here to the next stop. Luma CLR 9S, that's unusual, it just went past us, a Luma Range Rover. Yeah, about 2 hours on the motorway, we'll need to fill up along the way I think. And then we'll get to the Coventry Motor Museum. Fairly uneventful drive down to here then, but we're now at the Coventry Transport Museum. I've never been inside, but I hear there are some good highlights. So let's go on in and take a look. This museum is home to the largest collection in the world of British road transport vehicles, and there are two sections in particular I'm going to take a look at. And the first of those here is Jaguar, the Jaguar Heritage, because Jaguar has long had a connection to Coventry where we are right now. In fact, a lot of automotive has had a connection to Coventry, and that is why we're here right now. But there is Mr. William Lyons, who started the company, initially making Swallow sidecars, things like this, before it moved on to the Austin 7 Swallow, which was introduced in the 20s at the motor show. Lots and lots of success and sort of customers putting in orders for that car. Then we had the SS Airline and then the SS Jaguar 2.5 litre. Now the SS name from after these cars in the 30s was very quickly dropped following World War II for obvious reasons, and Jaguar moved on to, well, arguably one of the most famous cars, the XK120 we've got here. And a couple of other cars on the right hand side under the Jaguar name as well, the XK150, Jaguar 3.4 litre, and from before that we have the Jaguar Mark V. Always making big and luxurious cars, but it's kind of fun because we can whistle stop tour and carry on through here to, well, probably their actually most famous vehicle Jaguar created, the E-Type, which will lead us on towards the current day. Those are spectacularly beautiful, and that car sits here amongst a line of Jaguar models. Come around the other side, we get slightly more modern. The XJS 4.0 convertible, more familiar to me I suppose from my period growing up, the XK8 coupe, and then the introduction to a lower price point when Jaguar introduced the S-Type. Now if I swing round, two cool cars to mention, of course the F-Type, the latest and very successful model, performing very well, lots of fun. I've enjoyed driving the V6, V6S, the V8S, the F-Type R, lots of fun with them, and now they make an all-wheel drive version as well. So we've come all the way from Jaguar's history to the present, and now we sort of look at the future. The CX-75 turbine-powered concept that Jaguar released about 5 years ago at the Paris Motor Show, which is a sort of breathtaking design. And the sort of latest version of the CX-75 even makes an appearance in the new James Bond movie Spectre. Well, that's very nice to see that car here. So Jaguar's always had this connection to Coventry. The Jaguar factory in Gaydon, of course, not too far away, but there are sort of design departments and all sorts of things dotted around Coventry where the factories used to be. So this was a pretty cool section. There's a lot to see here, but we're going to whistle stop straight down to one other specific place. It's been a pretty short ride over from the Coventry Transport Museum to the Heritage Motor Centre, where we are about to turn in. Just in some roadworks at the moment, and I presume it's just over that way. We're outside Gaydon, which is of course the home to a lot of brands these days. You've got Jaguar, you've got Land Rover, you have Aston Martin nearby, and there's just a lot of automotive engineering in this area, so that's why there's so much for us to see. But we're going to drive up to the museum and take another look around this one. So this is the Heritage Motor Centre. It's currently about to close down and reopen again in February next year as the British Motor Museum. But there are a lot of cars here, and they're opening a new section as well that we can take a sneak glimpse at today. But let's just go on a pretty whistle-stop tour around and just take a look at everything that's in here. So you've got a Defender from Skyfall, you've got a DMC DeLorean, you've got a Defender from Tomb Raider as well here. If we go all the way back, the cars start from the 1890s and then they come through and we get newer and newer. And a kind of fun fact is that the ground and road beneath them actually changes as well, depending what was correct at that era. So we come all the way here to where tarmac starts. As we look around here, then we've got plenty more going on. We've got a concept from Land Rover, sort of early version, I guess, of the new Sport. Design sort of brief. Keep whizzing through. It's just a sort of complete variety of different cars that all fit into the collection here for whatever reason at the time, even through to a Rolls-Royce Phantom here. And one sort of highlight that stands out to me that I'm going to get to actually over there is the glimpse of orange you can probably see. TVR race car as well, T400R. But it's the first time I've seen a McLaren in a museum, which is quite fun. A 12C, a very early 12C, in fact, PP07, one of the pre-production prototypes in McLaren orange. Got a line-up of some small minis and the like, little hatchbacks. As things all get a little bit newer coming along the outside. Just glimpsing around. Even a London taxi. So there's a fairly eclectic selection of cars in here, all sorts of different things. We're going to head straight over to the other side and take a look at the Jaguar collection. This room is rather special. This is at the collection centre here then, and we've got a fantastic array of Jaguars and some Daimlers around this room. Now, I'm going to pick out some of my highlights. There's a lot to show. It would be crazy to go through everything. You'll have to come down and visit yourself to see that. Given that James Bond is very much in favour, that car is here right now. We've got one of the final editions of the E-Type. In fact, I think the last one ever made, the last E-Type, so that's pretty special. A converted racing E-Type, that's rather special too. Then a TWR Jaguar XJS. In the corner over here, there's a 1907 Daimler with some motorsport history, so that's quite cool. You can tell I'm following the speed theme, looking at some race cars. We've got the early Jaguars named the SS, as I showed you earlier. So this is an SS 100. This I'll just have to check. Is the SS1, 16 horsepower. What year is that from? We're looking at cars from 1933 here. Before Jaguar obviously rebranded from SS to SS Jaguar, then took on the Jaguar product name for after the World War. So most of the cars in this collection are either the first one or the last one that was ever built. You can tell where I'm heading to right now, but they're all quite special. So the latest edition is the XFR at the end, which is the final steel-bodied XF before they now build aluminium-bodied cars. But XJ220, one of the poster cars, certainly when I was a youngster, 1992, hypercar of the time. And of course, a speed record holder until the McLaren F1 came along. Needless to say then, this is a pretty special room right here. You could spend a long time looking around at all of the different cars in here. Upstairs there are further cars to take a look at, and there are over 300 cars as part of the Heritage Motor Centre's Trust collection, so there's a lot to look at. Some random ones just to pick out for you. The final ever Austin Montego, signed by everyone that worked on it, still in sort of complete pre-packaged delivery kind of protection. And then we've got a plastic Austin Mini, one of the final ones again ever. There's a Mini Moke tucked in there. Keep wandering down the line. All sorts of cars, just cars with a history and connection to Britain. So Triumphs, a Honda model that was built in Britain. Just huge variety of different things. Then on the left side here, we've got Land Rovers, a quick sort of like history of everything from one of the earliest Defenders coming through the newer model Defenders, all the way up, and we get towards Range Rovers, Discoveries, and the like, the newer models. Sort of timeline lined up here, and this is just a sort of highlight selection of what can be seen here. A final little Jaguar section back over in the main building then, a couple more highlights. We've got a Jaguar Formula 1 car from when they were racing here, and alongside that the XK180 concept car, which I actually think looks really awesome. I like that quite a lot. And we've got a few more. We've got a D-Type. To look at everything we're looking at, an XFR V8. Fastest Jaguar. Time to read some information. Officially timed at 225 miles per hour. Okay, so this XFR did 225 miles per hour. Casual, hey, I didn't see that coming. Then, I'm going to go straight through. Sky Racing Team XF Estate, Sport Brake, of course. We've got the concept for the XJ220, which actually looks remarkably like the production car. Slightly different shape, but basically the same sort of gist and shape of it, and a racing S-Type as well. Unusual. So yes, it's been a pretty fantastic collection in here. Lots and lots to see, and it's all going to be rearranged and reopened in a brand new sort of way in February next year as the British Motor Museum. So not a bad visit today. I'm glad we got here just before it closes up. Looking forward to hopefully returning again next year and seeing things in their new shape. We've got a full tank of fuel now then to get us back to London, just a couple of hours down the motorway. So I'm going to wrap up the tour here, but what a tour it has been. Speed lives here, and it really, really does. We had some great driving roads. We did Anglesey Circuit, the Isle of Man, the TT Circuit. It's been a pretty special trip with everything we've been to, those and everywhere else that we stopped along the way. 5 brilliant days driving a pretty good car for the purpose, the Porsche Cayman GT4, a car I'm absolutely delighted with. It's truly, truly brilliant. Anyway, I'm looking forward now to the third tour. Of course, this was the second, celebrating the launch of the new Esso Synergy fuels, and the third tour is going to be no less exciting as we head back to Bristol, around Wales, and ultimately up towards Manchester, with a couple of stops on the way, of course, as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this coverage. I've certainly enjoyed filming it. We're going to wrap up there. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Cheers! Hi Nick, how are you?
Hello, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Hi, nice to see you.
Pretty excited about today. I can see the car over there. Let's go straight inside.